excited, obviously, to be able to create this hybrid. And the challenge is to take the best aspects of both creatures and combine them.
What we wanted to make sure was it something that wasn't completely different, that tonally stuck out in the movie as well.
And that was a great opportunity to come up with an animatronic creature that just had a real life and vitality to it. Initially, there were some thoughts as to whether or not this hybrid creature was even going to play in the movie.
When Fox first sent us a script, there it was in the first couple pages, wreaking havoc in the Predator ship, but then it died in the crash.
And we're like thinking, it's got to be, you know, just trusting our gut. It's got to be in the movie.
So the next one that we got, the Predalien, was essentially the new nemesis, which is a great move.
Once it became established that it was an integral part of the story, then the studio got more and more involved in terms of our design process.
That was one of the biggest tasks for ADI, was to actually go through and re-sculpt, you know, design this Predalien from scratch.
The challenge is to take the best aspects of both creatures and combine them so that you don't end up with something that looks like you rummaged through the costume box and put an alien head on a Predator body with a tail, you know. And there's surprisingly a lot of different possible combinations, but the obvious ones, you know, the obvious Predator earmarks are the dreadlocks, mandibles, you know, and coloration. So it was always just a matter of what's the percentage of Predator to alien.
Basically, you know, we started with the fundamental principle that it's mainly an alien. It's 85, 90% alien, and we can introduce 10 to 15% of Predator DNA to it.
It's not like two parents, you know, a German Shepherd and a Chihuahua or something. It's that the alien takes on characteristics of its host body. Ultimately, we created a maquette that combined the elements in a pleasing way.
One of the important things was for the color on her was to actually show that she took some of the characteristics from the Predator. So we actually have the kind of more yellowishy chest with the spotting on the coloring. The rest of the back and the tail and everything is much more the deeper, darker alien tones.
Design cues of the Predalien, though, is we added a little bit of a queen-like head to her. So if you look at the back, there are cues off of the alien queen. We did introduce some things that I know were probably controversial, like the dreadlocks.
The dreadlocks, I had sculpted a potential Predalien head, and I wanted to put dreadlocks on it, and I'm like, boy, do I really have to sculpt all these? Wait a minute, we've got the molds of the tail, the miniature rod puppet alien from Alien 3, we got the molds of that. Luckily, it was a decent enough idea that we could improve it and refine it for the final guy. Well, once the directors in the studio have had their input and everybody agrees on what the character should look like, we start sculpting in full scale.
It's got the exoskeletal features of an alien, the tail of an alien, but he's a little bigger, more powerful. Or I should say she, actually, to correct myself. One of the really cool design features, she has a transparent dome in the front of her head, similar to the original alien. And also, within that transparent dome is two eye sockets of a human skull.
In the first film, there was a skull shape inside Giger's alien, but you didn't really ever see it.
Yeah, it's really creepy looking.
A lot of the fans know it's there, but we thought we would put that Predator skull into the head and make a smaller dome over top of that. There are shots where you can see those brows. He's supposed to be about the same or slightly larger than a Predator. So we lengthened the head more, gave him bigger hands, we kind of cheated the upper body proportions. So when you see Tom in the suit as the Predalien, it's kind of goofy from head to toe because his legs look very squat. We're always very concerned that the still photographer is going to take a picture, somebody that really doesn't know that this thing is mostly meant to be shot from the waist up, releases a shot to the magazine where it looks like it's a weird dwarf alien. And that can cause great concern among the fans.
Chet was developed as another creature character suit that I could play, that I would be able to wear so we could still have the practical value.
I want to say we made about, maybe it was 6 jet suits. We had a few stunt suits with stunt heads, soft rubber stunt suits. We had hero suits that only Tom ever wore, that were pristine and kept in great shape. A couple of articulated heads that Tom could wear.
The suit construction is pretty much what we've been doing ever since we kind of took over the franchise on Alien 3, and that's a spandex bodysuit that fits me, that goes on to the core, which is a copy of my body. And then we generate the surface with foam latex, which is just whipped up. It's a chemical foam compound mixed up and injected into the mold and then cured in an oven, so it becomes a spongy foam rubber over top. This is my bladder control, because at my age, we're taping. This is the tail mount, and the idea here is to provide a base that we can attach one of the tails to. We have a hard, rigid tail that kind of supports its own weight. We have a floppy tail, depending on the shot. Basically, it has a vertical sheet of nylon in it, which has been cut to a silhouette that has that swoopy shape to it. So it holds the tail in that position, and it also holds it pretty well vertical. And then as I turn, it can kind of curl to the right or to the left. And because of the weight, we also attach a line to it, a puppeteering line to help take the weight off. But this tail on the hybrid Predalien is longer than the Aliens, so it's heavier. So if I lean forward with the head, I can kind of counterbalance teetering on my legs, so it sort of works out pretty well. The animatronic Predalien head takes 3 puppeteers on the outside to make everything operate. There's openings in the neck that I can see out of.
I can't find that
One
balance.
eye.
Yeah, Jenny's pointing out the eye hole.
There's neither.
So I use that mainly just to look at landmarks, areas on the set, so at least I have some idea of where I'm at and which way I'm facing. You want to be respectful to the inner voice inside, the voice that has brought us to where we are ever since we were kids and just loving movie monsters, and it's a constant battle of the inner voice and the practicality, and admittedly it's hard to get through some of the days. But in the end, you come up with the creature, the look of the creature, and you put it out there, and you just hope that it's going to click with the fans. Then we count that as a huge success.